Yo, and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector, and today I'm going to do a video that is a trifecta contest response for 3 channels that are running contests right now. And you know, I was thinking about it, how do I do it where it's interesting and it kind of has a theme and something that gives you some insight into me as a collector and my history in the hobby. And so I came up with a theme of my childhood. And you know, whenever I do a video, I try to think about my audience and who's going to like it and who's it really for, and who's going to watch it and enjoy it. And so this one, usually I'm making videos for you guys, and that's all great. But this one I'm making for my grandchildren. And I was thinking about some things that some other guys have said, and just, you know, we're not promised tomorrow. And if I can, through this video, at least today, tell a little bit more about my history in the hobby and bring back some great memories from my childhood, tell some funny stories about my dad and my mom and, you know, basically my grandkids, great-grandparents, you know, that'll be fun. And you guys can learn a little bit about me, a little bit more. So let me tell you about the 3 contests, and then I'll start showing you the items that I have that apply to those contests. So Andy, who is nostalgic about baseball, is doing a 200 subscriber contest. First of all, congratulations, Andy. That's awesome. And he wants us to show off our favorite 80s cards. So I'm going to do that. Dead Guy Cardboard, who is Ben, he has hit 750 subs, which is really great. And he wanted to show kind of a rare and unique item within our collection. So I'm going to do that. And then Triple Crown 24, JT. He's doing a 250 subscriber contest. He wanted to show us to show 4 cards in our collections that we've never shown on YouTube and give 4 shout outs to guys that we think would really, you know, love to have those and who might like the card, I guess I should say. And so those are the 3 guys I'm going to do contest responses for with the theme of my childhood. And so along the way, I'm going to tell some stories. The first story I want to tell to my grandkids is that my collecting passion since 1981 was fueled and inspired a lot by your great-grandfather, my dad, Palmer. And my dad has a collecting nature. My dad grew, when I was growing up, I had a great gig as a kid, let me tell you. My dad was a television cameraman for the major sporting events going on here. He did Cowboys games and Mavericks games and Stars, and then the biggest one was the Rangers. And so I went with him to the ballpark all the time and sat up in the booth as a kid. And those are amazing memories that I have of getting to go with Palmer and do that. He was an amazing cameraman. He was the guy called the high home. So he was up behind home plate shooting down on the field. So whenever you see the shot of the whole field on a ground ball or a fly ball, that was his camera angle, camera shot that he had to get. And he was really, really good at it and did it for a really long time. And so a lot of this stuff today was inspired, given to me by him, done by him, and all this stuff. And my mom played a big role too, because she bought me packs of cards all growing up. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So let me get to the cards and show y'all basically the items in order to respond to the contests. So hang on one second. All right, so the first one I'm going to be responding to is Andy, nostalgic about baseball cards, and he wanted to show us our favorite cards from the 80s, and I'm going to do that because in the 1980s I was a huge Rangers fan, and like I said, I was going with my dad to the ballpark a lot and really enjoyed that and got to be just in the action, just cool access as a kid. It was like a kid in a candy store for a baseball lover like myself. And in the early 80s, when I started collecting cards and getting into it, I was a huge Buddy Bell fan. He was just multiple-time All-Star for the Rangers, third baseman, solid Major League career, went on to be a manager for a while for the Rockies and the Reds, I think, but just loved Buddy Bell. And he was a great player. There's his 80 top. So these are my favorite 80s cards. And these are cards nobody's ever, you know, I don't talk about my extensive Buddy Bell collection a whole lot because I didn't think anybody would care. But, you know, it's just part of my collection. I have almost every Buddy Bell card ever made. None of them are slabbed, really. They're just all raw like this, which is great. Kind of how it should be. There's an 82 Topps Buddy Bell. I always thought that was an interesting picture because that profile. And here's a very off-center 83 Topps. Again, I don't care because this is my PC, just my stuff. Always loved that card. That was a big card for me. When I was a kid also, I used to send in for these sets every year. These are the glossy All-Star send-in sets that you could do with Topps every year. And I'd pull, you'd have to send in a certain number of wrappers, I think, and they would send you the set. And every year I did that. And I was so excited when I saw Buddy Bell had a card. And this one, when I got it, I was like, oh, look at those old school Rangers uniforms. They are, you know, God, those had to be very uncomfortable to wear. And here's the last one I'll show of Buddy Bell for my favorite 80s cards for Andy. 84 Topps right there. Playing third base. Buddy Bell won several Gold Gloves as well. He was a really solid player throughout the 80s. Started with the Indians, ended up with the Reds, but there you go. There's that. Okay. Next, I'm going to do JT's response, which is 4 cards that I've never shown off on YouTube, and 4 shout outs to guys that might like them. And so I'm going to start out here. These are all cards. I'll show the first one. These are cards my dad got when he was in the booth, and there would be guys that came through the booth to either be guests or they were announcers or whatever for the broadcast. And if they were a Hall of Famer, my dad didn't know a whole lot about baseball, but he would find out if they were, you know, Hall of Famers, and he would go to the card shop and buy cards to get signed by the player. This is a Brooks Robinson 62 Topps All-Star. This is PC for life for me, along with the other cards you're going to see here in a second. And so he would get this stuff signed and bring them back to me and give them to me, which really ignited something. I mean, I've had this card probably since I was 12 or 13 years old, and I'm 45. So this has been in my collection for a really long time. Ballpoint pen, you know, they didn't know as much about for Sharpies, but I love this. And the guy I would say that would love this card would be probably Ed Wesker Griff. He's a Orioles collector, and I bet B. More Greg wouldn't be upset if he had that either in his collection. But beautiful pen autograph there. This next one is a 73 Topps Harmon Killebrew. Again, my dad gave this to me. He got this over the years and passed it on to me. When I was a kid, he would give these to me. I had no idea what I had. That, you know, the idea that I'd collect Hall of Famers someday or any of that, or have a YouTube channel, none of that was even thought of yet back when I got these cards. I love Killebrew's autograph. This is a beautiful one. Just love it. And I bet that Dustin and Blake would think this is pretty cool. That's my shout out for this one. Got another one here. Got a Reggie Jackson ballpoint pen here on a 79 Topps. And again, my dad would just randomly go to he'd know who was going to be in town, and he'd go to the card shop and ask the guy, unbeknownst to me, you know, hey, do you have any Reggie Jackson cards? And he bought a 79 Topps Reggie Jackson. And so I've always loved these particular cards. Like, I've always loved 79 Topps Reggie Jackson because I knew I had one signed that my dad had gotten for me. So it's always been a special card for me, as the other ones are. And I've got actually another Reggie, and then there's an 82 Topps, again in ballpoint pen, so it's really hard to see. Actually, it looks even better on camera than it does in person, but you can see his autograph right down here. And I bet Joe Silver Jackify would love this, or since I have 2 of them, you know, I bet Parkside LA 88, Rob would love it, and all you other Yankees guys out there. I know there's a bunch of you, but that's my 4 cards that I wanted to show that I've never shown on YouTube, and 4 shout outs for guys who might like them. So JT, there you go. My last item is for Dead Guy Cardboard for Ben. He wanted to see something very rare, and this is very rare. So this is a baseball, and I'm going to try to not have it glare. It is incredibly toned. It is old, but this is a ball that my dad would carry around when he was at the ballpark, he had it in his bag, and every time he met a Hall of Famer, if he found out they were a Hall of Famer, he would pull this ball out and he would have somebody sign it. I did a video on this ball. In our house, it's just called The Ball, and my dad would carry it around and get it signed. And so there's Mantle, and you can see it's not the greatest Mantle signature, but it means the world to me. So there's Mantle. I did a video on this a long time ago on my channel, and it was one of my first videos, so it's terrible. Don't go watch it. But there's George Kell, Al Kaline, Brooks Robinson on that side panel. If I turn it around and go to this side panel, you've got Don Drysdale and Phil Rizzuto on it. Very neat. On this panel over here, you've got Harmon Killebrew, Reggie Jackson. So you're seeing a theme here. If my dad met them, he would get them to sign the ball and a card. There's Reggie Jackson with his 44. Love that. And then Nolan Ryan down here. And then again, working in the broadcast industry like my dad did, he got to meet some pretty great guys. Ernie Harwell is a just Hall of Fame broadcaster for the Tigers. And of course, Mel Allen. I mean, how cool is that? Mel Allen on a ball. You know, this is just a piece of baseball history, really, very unique. I bet there's no other ball with these exact signatures on it. That would really surprise me. And what makes it special and unique is it's something my dad carried around for a really long time to acquire these signatures and then passed it on to me. And so I'll turn it back to the sweet spot where the Mantle is, just to show that as I finish up. So there you go, guys. There you go, grandkids yet to be born. That's kind of some stories and how much my dad meant to me and in igniting my collecting, you know, passion that I have for this hobby. And I'll never get rid of this item. I love it. And thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great day, and we'll catch you soon. Keep collecting.